Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Then and Now, this series in which I take a look at early releases in a game franchise compared to the later titles in the series. When I initially made this series, I wasn't sure whether I would include retro remake games or not. But after I saw that a certain game had been remade, I really couldn't help myself. Yes, this week we're going to be taking a look at Castle of Illusion, a 1990 game on the Sega Mega Drive, and comparing it to the retro remake, which was released in 2013. Castle of Illusion was one of the first games I got for my Sega Mega Drive when I was a child. The fact that it remains one of my favourite platform games of all time should give you some idea of just how good this is. The plot goes something like this. Your beloved girlfriend Minnie is captured by the evil witch Mizrabel, leaving you, the brave and fearless Mickey, to trudge through her Castle of Illusion collecting crystals in order to save her. I guess I learned from a young age that if you want to be in love, you have to risk your life and sanity collecting a shit ton of jewellery. The first thing you'll notice when playing this game is how ultra stylized everything is. The graphics really do well to capture that Disney magic, with all the enemies looking cartoony and cute and well characterized. The backgrounds are really lush and colourful. In fact, I'd say this is one of the most beautiful looking Mega Drive platformers out there, and a real showcase of what the console was capable of. The most striking thing about the environments is just how varied they are. With each new door you look behind, a fresh and varied world awaits you, full of different enemies that fit in with the theme. It was captivating as a kid, and it remains so to this day. You go from the forest one minute to a toy box full of clowns and soldiers to a library full of books and letters. If I had to pick my favourite stage, it would be the candy level. Bouncing off delicious cakes, swimming in tea, and running over bridges of sweets is full of diabetes-inducing joy. The whole game just makes you feel like you're in a magical world full of Disney charm, and it really takes me back to bygone days. But don't think that the pretty visuals are all this game has to offer. The gameplay is of the highest quality. I like the mechanic of being able to jump and land on enemies using the C button to reach higher areas. It's a feature that feels quite fun to do and is used to good effect in the game. Sometimes you'll need to time that bounce perfectly to reach higher areas. The apples you'll be throwing feel pretty precious, so you'll tend to use those to get out of a pickle when jumping just won't cut it. There are some really innovative gameplay features here too, like the switch that flips the level over, sending your enemies to their death, or the action sequences. The most memorable of these would be when the toy level turns into a giant slide, launching you on a diamond-grabbing dash to the bottom. A special mention has to go to the bosses, which are all very memorable and so much fun to beat. While most of them aren't especially challenging once you've had some practice, they are just about difficult enough to remain fun without you having to pull your hair out. Which is good because I don't really have a lot of that left. It's a satisfying feeling when you beat them to reveal that glowing gem that serves as your reward. Really, it's very hard to think of anything negative to say about this game. If pushed, well, I would say that there are some slightly frustrating moments. The level with the rising and falling water that knocks you back to the start can border on being a little annoying. It's not so bad for me nowadays after a good amount of practice, but I do remember finding that section to be a real bugger back in the day. I suppose the only other thing would be that the game is a little on the short side. It can be easily completed within an hour or so, once you get the hang of it. But I think maybe the reason it feels too short is because it's just such a good game that I never really want to end. So really, I'm turning that negative into a positive. Castle of Illusion has remained one of my favourite platform games and one of my favourite Sega Mega Drive games to this day. I didn't really feel as though it needed remaking because the original title is just so damn good. However, when I saw that the re-release had come out in 2013, I really had to get my hands on it and find out just exactly how it played. The nice thing about starting up the remade Castle of Illusion is the beautiful hand-drawn looking intro, with really good quality narration. In fact, throughout your progression in the game, new levels are introduced by a narrator, making you feel even more like you're in a Disney movie. It's a very nice touch, and just helps to pad out the story side of things a little bit more. I suppose the aim of a retro remake is to capture the essence of the original game while adding depth, new features and a new look, and that is exactly what has happened here. Everything feels familiar. The feel of the game is so well matched to the original that it's really impressive, yet it's enough of a difference to make you want to keep playing, and to make this a new game in its own right. The stages follow the same style and order, but of course they aren't just replicas of the original levels. Things are nicely mixed up, and it doesn't feel simply like a rehashing. Simply put, this is a gorgeous game. It captures all of the character and charm of the Mega Drive title, while really improving the graphics. Everything looks well polished and shiny. I suppose one of the major changes is the merging of 2D and 3D elements, which switch seamlessly throughout the game and really add something different to the gameplay. Often these 3D sections add quite challenging tasks that just weren't in the original, and the increased difficulty and content is much appreciated. Hopping across a sea of sinking cookies was both challenging and exhilarating, and is just a really good concept that builds on the ideas in the original. I mentioned how I liked the action sequences in the original game. Those have been enhanced here, and indeed more have been added. A brief run from a rolling apple has been changed into a 3D action escape sequence in which you have to dodge twigs and rocks and leap to safety. It's great to see concepts from the original game taken and developed on. I think this is another good example of how to capture the feel of an old game while changing things for the better. Some of the best improvements for me are found in the boss battles. The bosses have been given even more character than in the original, and I found myself smiling at their new personalities, especially the grumpy tree boss. But more than this, additional attack patterns have been added, meaning the bosses aren't such a walk in the park anymore. I appreciated the challenge and found I really had to keep my wits about me to defeat them. I think the Jack-in-the-Box is the best example of how things have improved. His attacks were much more varied, parts of the battle switched into 3D, and it was just generally more varied and enjoyable than in the first game. I must say that I found the dragon boss to be a little annoying in this game. The fast 3D jumping didn't seem to be very easy to pull off, and I plopped into the milk while cursing under my breath more times than I'd have liked. I'm not sure if that was just down to me though, and I did appreciate the varied and new approach. Also, I recall Miserabelle being a little bit easy in the first game. That is no longer the case here. In the remake, she's a formidable and scary adversary who mutters evil curses and really throws everything she has at you to stop your adventure and bring it to a grisly end. It feels more appropriate that the last boss is really difficult, and works to make the last stage more climactic. Again, I appreciated this improvement upon the original.
My fiendish fools circle round ghosts and ghouls, spin and twist, twirl and whirl, let your phantom fury swirl!
There is a reasonable amount of new content added here too. Secret areas have been added that weren't in the original game, and it's fun to find where these are and to collect extra goodies. There are also time trial modes which add a bit of a competitive edge and a challenge, and these help to add some more longevity to the game. While I'll admit that I have limited experience of retro remakes, Castle of Illusion has set the standard very high. In my opinion, this is a near perfect reimagining of a fantastic game that shows how things can be changed while remaining very much within the context and feel of the original. If I judge all remakes by these same high standards, I'm sure I'll find myself very disappointed. I strongly recommend both versions of Castle of Illusion. Thanks for watching this comparison of Castle of Illusion, the 1990 Mega Drive game, with the re-release in 2013. As always, if you've liked this video, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Take care and I'll see you all soon. Bye!